Hello everyone, today I'm going to follow SakimiChan's art process. In case you don't know who SakimiChan is, she is an artist known for her digital illustrations. Here are some of my favorites of her work. Now, thanks to YouTube recommendations, I recently discovered that SakimiChan has a YouTube channel, and she just posted a new video after an entire year of nothing. The illustration is beautiful, however, what impressed me the most is how fast she did it, in just a bit more than 4 hours. To give you some context, it usually takes me at least 6 to 7 hours to make an illustration on Procreate. So, anyways, I'm immediately intrigued by her work process and want to apply it to my own workflow. I know Sakimi-chan has a Patreon with more detailed tutorials and stuff, but first off, I want the tutorial or speed paint that I follow is accessible to everybody. And second, because it will be hard to explain to my mom why I'm buying sexy lady HD images online. However, if you are interested in Sakimi-chan's work, I strongly recommend you check out her Patreon. I'm gonna use this video that Sakimi-chan just posted a month ago by the time I edit this video because I draw a little bit every day. However, without further ado, let's just get started. First off, Sakimi-chan is starting with a sketch of Formidable from Azure Lane. In honor of Sakimi-chan, I'm also drawing a fan art of a female game character with the really big assets, because we're learning from Sakimi-chan here. This is Picorine from a gacha game I played for a while. She really likes food, especially rice balls, so I am drawing her holding one. In order to make my life easier, I drew her pose roughly similar to Sakimi's Formidable and used the same lighting. Why not draw Formidable as well, I hear you ask? Well, this is experience from my previous I try to follow a wall-up tutorial video. If I just blindly copy everything in the video, my brain is not really thinking and applying the techniques in my own way. So this time I want to try to learn with another character. Now the sketch is done, we are starting to make some layers. So as you can see, Sakimi-chan made a formidable layer folder for all the formidable related layers and a background layer. BG stands for background. And then put her sketch on top. And she also, inside a formidable layer, she has head, hand, body, hair, and fabric layers. So I'm just going to do the same here. The next step is to select each part into their corresponding layers. So the torso into body layer, the hands and arms into hands layer, the heads, including the bangs, into the heads layer, and her double ponytail, so Formidable's double ponytail, into the hair layer. So I'm showing you guys a slower version of what I'm doing to show you how much I'm struggling to use the lasso. So I only recently started to use Photoshop, and for some reason my hands are just super shaky on a tablet. So I need to try multiple times in order to get a shape that I like. Without further ado, let's skip to when I'm done with it. Next, Sakimi-chan started to add some basic light and shadows to the skin. So there's like a yellowish rim light, some really dark shadow, and there's like a kind of a warm reflected light as well. So I'm just going to try to copy that same lighting. The dark shadows that I laid down feel so dark right now, but that's kind of what Sakimi did. Once the basic skin shading is done, Sakimi started to use the lasso tool to select all the black clothings, and then use lasso tools again to select all the white clothings, and did shadows and lightings for each of them. When Sakimi-chan select all the different parts, it looks so easy, and when I try to do it myself, it's definitely not easy. The character that I chose, Picorim, definitely has a lot more different colors on her than Formidable. She has this blue, I don't even know what is it. It's like upper part of a dress. And then she has a white dress and a red tie and like a metal shoulder pad thing on her shoulder and then yellow buttons on her belly. And she also has brown belts on her glove and belts on her around her chest and her waist. So I usually never use lasso, but because Sakimi-chan is using a lot of lassos in her video, I try to use lassos to draw a lot of the different details as you can see here. My usual habits when it comes to adding detail is to like work on one part for a really long time and then just call that part done, never touch it again, which is a lot different from what Sakimi-chan is doing. So she's like laying down some basic lighting and darks for the whole picture, and then she comes back to each part to add different details. So I try to control myself to not add too much details, but I think some part of her whole picture I can probably call done. It's just the edges is really rough because my lasso skills are not perfect. Finally, the basic colors and shadings are done. Let's see what's next. Sakimi-chan is using lasso tools again to add some more shadows and using brightness and contrast and then color balance to adjust it. Okay, I mean that can't be too hard to follow. So I am also selecting some areas that I think might should be darker. I'm not really sure if this is making it worse or better. I just realized something during editing here. So because Pico Rain's body orientation and lighting is the same as Formidable, I basically copy the same shadow forms, right? And you see that one shadow on the left of her red tie? Um, in Formidable, that's actually shadow from Formidable's hand. And I didn't realize that back then. I just copied that shadow. But Picori's hand is not there, so that shadow doesn't make any sense at all. Luckily, that shadow was eventually gone from layers and layers of paint. So anyways, back on track, we are starting to paint some hair. I am adjusting and finding the right colors for orange hair under this lighting after using lassos to select all the hair from the head layer. I have never used these adjustment tools in Photoshop before, and I gotta say they are pretty great. Sakimi-chan briefly added some details in the background before moving on to more details in the hair, so I'm just going to do that as well. Pickering doesn't have black ribbon-like things floating behind her like Formidable has. So in order to get a background, I just made rice balls raining from the sky. Pickering really likes food, and in a lot of her pictures she's holding a rice ball, so I think she will be really happy if it's raining rice balls. Her face looks really dead right now, so I'm just going to quickly add some saturation and maybe change the lighting a little bit before I keep going. Alright, let's continue with the speed paint and add some hair accessories with Sakimi-chan. Next, we are doing a lot of rendering. So one thing I noticed that Sakimi-chan does a lot when she is rendering stuff is that she uses lassos. Like just a lot of lassos. No wonder she only used one body layers and only occasionally make a new layer to draw something and then immediately merge down. Also, I am just absolutely blown away by how precise her lassos can be. She can always get the shape that she wants first try. Meanwhile, I have to spend 10 minutes trying to fix my lassos in order to make it into a shape that I want. Alright, so back to the painting. Right here, I really struggle to render the shoulder armor that Picorin has. I'm guessing that I need to do a lot more metal studies. Plus, at this moment of the painting, I didn't realize that in Photoshop you can actually do a inverse lasso. So you select an area, you press the inverse button, and it selects every area except the area that you selected. And if I have known that inverse exists, my life will be a lot easier. But I didn't, so I'm just selecting things over and over again. So anyways, I spent a really long time to render the collar and chest area. So long that I might as well just cut to when that's finished. So here you go. I don't even know how long has passed, but oh, this is another point where I realized that this arm just looks a little strange. So I try to fix it a little, but it's not actually fixed. So I'll worry about that later. What really needs focus here is the hand. Her hand is supposed to be holding a rice ball. However, after doing a little bit of shading, I realized she's holding the rice ball in just the most awkward hand pose ever. I mean, like, what sane person would hold a rice ball like that? After some failed attempts to draw from imagination, I took a picture of me holding a mouse and used that as a reference to draw the hand. Redesigning the hand and rendering it took a really long time, but I think it's well worth it. I already sped up my recording as fast as possible, but the recording is still quite long, so I will have to make some cuts in order to keep the video short. Once I'm happy with the hand, I moved on to another area that really needs some attention, and that is the other arm. The way that her arm is bented outwards just look a little weird. After trying to fix it with warp, I decided maybe it's a better idea to just bend it towards the other direction. After I'm happy with how her left arm looks, I moved on to adding some minor details in her right arm. Now in hindsight, I think I should have used a lot more lasso tool like SakimiChan did. SakimiChan is basically using lassos in every single area she is painting. For example, if she's painting the edge of a piece of clothing on top of skin, she will first use lassos to trace the edge of that piece of clothing, and then render the piece of clothing in the selected area, and at last use inverse selection tool to render the shadow of that piece of clothing on the skin. The last detail I need to work on before moving on to the next thing that Sakimi does is her crown. So our girl Pickering here wears a crown that is either glass or crystal. It is kind of transparent as you can see in the reference photo. I have never drawn any glass objects before, so it took some time to figure out how to make it look transparent, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks like right now. Finally, I'm at the part that I love drawing the most, the face. In my usual workflow, I would work on the face first and everything else later. But I guess Sakimi-chan is leaving the best to last. To draw the face, first Sakimi-chan creates a new layer right above the head layer. She draws all the face details like the eyes, the nose, the mouth onto that new layer, and once she is happy with how it looks, she merges that layer down to the head layer. This is very useful because you can always have an idea of what the painting looked like before, and if you make a mistake, it's really easy to just erase it from the new layer. Unlike Sakimi-chan, I need a lot more layers to get the job done. So I was actually creating a bunch of layers when I was drawing the crown. And with the face, instead of one new layer, I needed two. But you know, as long as it gets the job done, who cares how many layers there are? Don't forget to add some bluish highlights on the hair. This is the blue light from the sky reflected on the hair. Once the eyes are done, all there's left to do is just add more details. The instructions to how to add more details is just something like this. So I'm just going to throw in some time-lapse music and I will see you guys at the end. Welcome back, everybody. So here's my final piece and a side-by-side comparison. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more and which artist's speed paints do you want me to follow. A like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.